Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our conference room series of videos. I'm Kyle Hackley, the senior and founder partner of Hackley and Robertson, and today Ryan and I were having a discussion on some of the recent conversations that have been all over the news about immigration reform. Obviously, both presidential candidates are talking about their various plans for the undocumented individuals in the country. Whether or not most people understand them, remains to be seen. But we have a thought. After 31 years in practice and seeing quite a few laws being passed over that time, we have an idea, one that we think that would actually work. It's a complex issue. We're not undermining that, and it would take a lot of work. It's non-partisan, and so let's talk about it a little bit. In 1996, Congress passed a law, and why don't you, Ryan, just speak a little bit about that, and then let me
certainly we'll talk about the basis of
Yeah.
what everything's predicated on. In 1996, Congress passed a law that says if an individual is unauthorized in the United States for a period of greater than a year or greater, once that individual leaves, they're barred from coming back for 10 years. And similarly, if the person was here unauthorized
Right.
less than a year, more than 6 months, less than a year, upon leaving, they're barred from re-entering the U.S. for a period of 3 years.
So that so tremendously changed the way we as immigration lawyers practice law. In other words, anybody who has overstayed their visa by more than a year, which in the scheme of things these days isn't a long time, is barred for 3 years or 10 years for coming back. And even 6 months overstay is a 3-year bar. So by creating a waiver to this bar that would be carved out for the individuals that are subject to that bar today. In other words, they can't leave the country and know that they have a way of coming back because of these bars. There's a way of carving out an exception, and that is the first step, we believe, that Congress could take that wouldn't shock anyone's conscience, that seems to be workable. Now, we know that once that individual leaves, even though they're not subject to the bar, they have to have a logical, practical, and reasonable way of returning. And so if you stay tuned to our next series of videos and continue reading our blogs if you are, we're going to talk about the different ways that we see that individuals can take advantage of any proposed amendment or waiver to the existing law and how they can come back. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.